Yeah.
Not Joe Biden, but Donald Trump. Your remarks on the eve of a meeting with the First Minister, with the Prime Minister, and what you have to offer, not only the delegates here, but your fellow premiers and the Prime Minister.
We want to have a strong Team Canada, Team Manitoba approach to the incoming U.S. administration. This is our most important ally and our biggest trading partner by far. And for Manitoba, we look at the potential impact of a 25% tariff. All sorts of stats we could share. The bottom line is it would mean a recession for our province, and we can't have that happen, especially as we're starting to make progress on healthcare and education and making a lot of good investments. We want to keep that momentum going. So what do we need to do? We have to show the Americans that we're serious about border security and we're serious about tackling the drug crisis. These were the points that the president-elect made in his public commentary. So I think first and foremost, hitting that target of 2% spending on defense is just sort of like, that gets us in the game, just to be taken seriously as a security partner with the U.S. If we don't do it, it's going to become a trade problem. And when we're talking about cracking down on drugs, when we're talking about the border, we need to look at the RCMP staffing crisis. And being in a room full of people today who are just year after year saying we need more boots on the ground, we need more RCMP, we need more Mounties to bring the hammer down on drug traffickers. I think responding to that concern today will also help us on the trade side. Because if we can show an incoming U.S. administration, you know what, law enforcement is getting the resources that they need, for sure more people to be able to enforcing these issues, but also new technology, being able to use drones, having the coverage of the border to use new technology like drones. Also, when we're cracking down on those drug traffickers, that would be something needed. And I think that message is one that I'll be sharing with my counterparts as well as the Prime Minister himself.
Do you think it can get done between now and January 20th? Because that's a short time frame with Christmas, with the federal backlog and sort of standstill that's going on in the House of Commons. Do you think we can get it done between now and January 20th?
I think the most important thing is to say that we're serious about this. And if the federal government, and we're more than happy to play our part, right? Like we stood up this new general investigative unit in Swan River to crack down on drug trafficking. We're working with the Winnipeg Police Service and other urban police forces in Manitoba to crack down on drug trafficking. I think the most important thing is to show that we're serious about these topics. And what's the downside? Manitobans want something done about drugs. So if we can tackle a major public safety issue that also helps the trade conversation with the U.S., I think it seems like a necessary step forward. So brought that message to the room here today. Be happy to work together, not just with the provinces and federal government, but also the local level leaders who are listening to you.
And want reaching out to the governors of North Dakota and Minnesota as well to talk about how they can help with this process?
Yeah, no, the state level partnership with the provinces is very important. I've congratulated Kelly Armstrong and of course Tim Walz being back in the governor's seat after the campaign that he was a part of. And then we got so many other state-level partnerships to strengthen, a lot of them in the Midwest, but let's not forget that Manitoba does a lot of trade with states like Tennessee and Georgia, Arizona, California. So this really is an important time for us to show to an American audience, when it comes to trade, Manitoba is good for your jobs, good for your economy, and for this new administration, we have to show that we're serious about security, whether that's along the border, in the Arctic, national security, and also that we're serious about what we're seeing in our communities with drugs. Our government is definitely tackling the addictions crisis. We're working on the homelessness issue, and that has to include not just prevention and harm reduction and treatment, but it has to include enforcement. Those are the four pillars, and enforcement is one of them. And so if the investments we make, along with perhaps a new commitment from the feds on this, can help us on the trade side, I think Manitobans would be well served.
Do you think this is actually an issue about drugs and the border security, or is it actually about American protectionism?
the situation that we're facing right now is one that I think folks who have been paying attention to American politics could have foreseen. You know, we started to raise the topic of hitting that 2% target of defense spending many months ago. And that was partially to prepare Canada for that relationship with an incoming Trump administration. And then so for us, we recognize that security is going to be a major priority for this administration. Republicans who are also in the Senate and the House of Representatives at the state level want to see a strong partner on Arctic security, want to see energy security, food security, border security looked after. So it's important for Canada to send that message that we are your most important ally, your most important trading partner, the most trusted country, because we share this border, and we're doing our part to ensure that that partnership is going to last for a long time.
What effect do you think that those tariffs, if they go in, what effect would that directly have on Manitoba?
Well, there's all sorts of stats that we can look at. I think a lot of economists have already predicted that there'd be $2,000 in lost income per person across the country. What does that mean in real terms? It means a recession. And so the progress that we've been starting to see by cutting the gas tax and investing in healthcare, this kind of momentum that Manitoba is feeling right now, that would really be put at risk if there is a recession. So we have to respond strongly and with a message that is common sense to an American audience, that not only are we a good trading partner, but we're a good security partner as well. And so investing in RCMP resources to show that we have that ability to crack down on drug trafficking, the ability to secure the border, these are important priorities for us as Canadians. I think we all want these things in and of themselves for our own country's well-being. But right now, it's especially important for us to send that message to the incoming American administration so that we can keep goods flowing across the border, keep your jobs secure, and keep the relationship strong.
Strong message for Manitoba and Canada, though, to do exactly what President Trump wants? Like, is that a strong negotiating tactic?
Can you rephrase the question just to help me understand it a bit better?
I guess, like, in that commentary from President-elect Trump, he talked about border, he talked about, I forget the other one. Drugs, yes. And you're saying that Canada should do that. Is it a strong negotiating tactic for Manitoba, or Canada, I guess, to do exactly what President Trump wants? Like, should we concede to his wishes?
Well, I always start with, what do Manitobans want? And what I've heard from people in neighborhoods across the province, local municipal leaders, First Nations leaders, is people want something done about toxic drugs being brought into our community. And so we're investing with those resources, but we also know that there's a staffing issue with the RCMP. And the federal government is really well placed to help us process those applications. There are people who want to be Mounties across the country that are waiting to hear back about their application. So let's move those through more quickly. Let's ensure that we're staffing up this national police force that serves us here in Manitoba as well. And so if we agree that cracking down on drug trafficking is already something that we want to do, if we agree that having a secure border is in our national interest, then I think broadcasting that message to the United States of America with a new administration coming in, it only helps the trade relationship, which at the end of the day, again, Manitobans are going to have their different political views about what happens here and in the United States of America, but I think everyone agrees that we have to protect jobs here. I think everyone agrees that we need to keep the economy moving in a good way. And so having a close relationship with the U.S. is bedrock. That's foundation for having a strong economy here.
How do you intend to broadcast that message?
Well, yeah, I think this is a message that we're going to have to repeat and ensure that Manitobans are on side with. And, of course, we're going to ask for the federal government and our partners to carry this message forward to the United States of America. It's not going to be something that gets accomplished in a day, but I think we're going to have to be consistent in bringing this message forward, that we are strong on the crackdown on drug trafficking, that we are strong when it comes to being a security partner, and we have to back up that message with action too.
Since yesterday, have you contacted any of the people you met on your Washington trip, any governors, any people in the Senate?
We have been working on this relationship ever since we launched the initiative earlier in the year. We've definitely, I would say, increased the frequency and energy behind those efforts, given the clarity that was provided by the election results in the U.S. And then, of course, as with most people, once we saw the announcement yesterday evening, we definitely got on our phones and started to follow up.
Will you be meeting with the Prime Minister about this?
Yeah, we'll be meeting tomorrow, I believe.
Quick question going back to what you just heard during the ministerial forum. Affordability seemed to be the topic of conversation, and everything came back to money. The Prime Minister has announced that he's going to remove the GST on groceries. Will you be doing something similar around the PST to help Manitobans get through the next few months when we go through this hard potential recession that we're in?
Well, first of all, I don't want to concede a recession, right? Like, we have a strong economy right now, low unemployment, low inflation rate, and we need to make sure that there's growth happening next year. When it comes to the affordability side, I think we've gone further than the federal government. We took the gas tax off, and I think there's a lot that the federal government could learn from the experience here in Manitoba in terms of putting money back in the pockets of the blue collar, and also just having a positive impact on inflation. So I think our affordability focus, it is going to be on the gas tax while that measure remains in place. It's on freezing hydro rates for 2025. And then, of course, moving ahead with banning restrictive covenants to help with affordability on grocery prices too.
On fatal shootings, Premier, the police frankly have a perception problem when it comes to fatal shootings. What legislative changes for police use of force could the province move forward with?
You know, at this point, I think I want to express, when we look at the video that circulated on social media and all the attention, you know, I think most Manitobans have seen or are familiar with at least the broad strokes of what took place. I don't think any of us want to see that happen. Nobody wants to see loss of life, but we also know that police have an important job to perform in our society. And as a result, you know, I think when we are thinking about the holidays and people are going to malls, people are going to these shopping areas, we want people to be safe. That's why we invested in the violent crime and retail theft initiative. That's why we're making other investments across the province, like the General Investigative Unit in the Swan Valley region. And beyond that, I think I'll probably defer to the IIU investigation in terms of future steps.
In terms of use of force changes, though, like, could that be something, it goes broader than this one incident. Is that something the province may consider?
I think given the context of the week and what everybody knows is being reported, I think I'll hold back on commentary, because that IIU investigation needs to play out, and I wouldn't want to presume a judgment about use of force or any of the context, really, until we hear more about the details of what took place.
In the future, and I guess same with body cams, you know, for Winnipeg Police. Like, is that something the province could fund? Again, we're looking forward, not about this incident particularly.
Just given the context of the week, I don't know how any comments I make today could be divorced from what took place, so I'll just leave it at the IIU investigation for now. Yeah, respectfully.
Okay, do we have any other questions for him?
Juste pour dire en français, c'est toujours important d'avoir des liens très forts avec les États-Unis. Alors, si notre gouvernement fédéral pourrait travailler avec nous pour lutter contre les drogues, pour travailler sur l'enjeu avec les frontières, je pense que ça va aider tout le monde ici dans le Manitoba, mais aussi va lancer un message aux nouvelles administrations dans les États-Unis que nous sommes un partenaire très fort, avec une frontière très sécure, et puis que nous sommes capables de travailler ensemble avec eux.
Merci.